There's a single skill that determines the trajectory of your entire life, and most people spend decades avoiding it. Here's what the master notes say. If you want to change everything, you need to master one thing: making your request known. That's it. If there was a single craft worth perfecting in this existence, this is it. The craft of expressing your desire. What does it actually mean to articulate what you want? It means looking inward and defining the ask. The mechanics are deceptively simple. You declare it. And a person needs to examine that. See, you can be the most competent worker in the world, but if you can't vocalize your worth, you're invisible. Now here's the hidden truth no one prepares you for. Most people invest a lifetime mastering everything except the one action that actually creates momentum. They grind, they commit, they refuse to quit. And yet, seasons change, years pass, and their reality stays frozen. Not because they lack ability, not because fate stacked the deck against them, but because they never cultivated the one tool that unlocks every door, the tool of asking. And when you weave that tool together with the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, something inside you recalibrates permanently. So hold on, because what you're about to hear might just be the reset you've been waiting for. Let's ground ourselves in the core principle. Seneca, a towering figure of Stoic thought, observed that we are tormented more by our imagination than by reality. And I would add to that, we fail more from our silence than from our attempts. The primary reason people don't achieve their desires isn't misfortune. It isn't market conditions. It isn't timing. It's that they never parted their lips to ask. Asking activates a mechanism, a force so subtle yet so potent that most people can't even articulate how it functions. And here's the liberating part. You don't need to understand the wiring to get the light. You just need to flip the switch. Asking is the switch. The second you ask, with precision, with intent, you initiate a chain reaction. You begin to orient yourself. You start seeing pathways that were invisible before. You begin to draw the necessary elements toward you. The Stoics describe this as aligning your will with the nature of the universe. But it always starts with a single act, deciding what you want and having the nerve to speak it into existence. Silence is the only deal you negotiate that always ends in loss. Some individuals spend their entire existence watching others ascend, wondering why the elevator never arrives for them. The answer is usually hiding in plain sight, unspoken and ignored. They learned everything except how to express their own needs. Now, this is where it gets fascinating. Most people assume the bottleneck is on the receiving side. They believe the world is scarce, that opportunities are limited, that there's a fixed pie. But that's a misdiagnosis. The receiving side handles itself once you start the engine. The real obstacle, the one camouflaged in plain view, is the refusal to ask initially. Think of the hardest working person you know. First one in, last one out, never complains, always delivers, yet somehow they're trapped in the same station they occupied half a decade ago. That individual is a master of showing up, but they never learn to speak up. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals that true power lies over your own mind, not external events. Grasp this, and you'll find your backbone. And a crucial part of that backbone is claiming what you seek, naming it, scripting it, placing it before you every single day. Because here's what the Stoics understood that the modern world often forgets. The cosmos doesn't reward a silent hope. It rewards a lucid intention backed by relentless action. Now imagine you're standing at the edge of a massive reservoir, limitless, deep, stretching beyond the horizon. more than enough water to sustain you for 100 lifetimes. That reservoir is potential. Wealth, connection, growth. It's all there. Always has been. Always will be. Now the question isn't whether the reservoir is full. The question is, what container did you bring to carry it home? Because some people show up to this reservoir of possibility with a thimble, and then they complain they're still parched. The Stoics had a name for the rational structure that governs the universe. They called it logos, the intelligent design woven into reality. And their advice was simple. Stop resisting it, stop doubting it, and start drawing from it with purpose. Trade the thimble for a barrel. Stop thinking small about what life owes you, and start thinking clearly about what you intend to pursue. Your life expands to match the size of the ask you're willing to make. And that brings us to the two most critical components of learning to ask. First, ask with crystal clarity, not a fuzzy notion floating in the ether, but with the kind of sharpness that leaves zero room for ambiguity. How much? By when? What does the outcome look like? What changes? What remains? Marcus Aurelius didn't just hope for Rome to run smoothly. He planned, he wrote, he examined his conscience at dawn and dusk. The Stoics journaled not to vent emotions, but to harden their intentions. When you write down your specific desire, defining it with rich detail, something almost magnetic occurs. That goal begins to pull you forward rather than you having to chase it down. The sharper the target, the stronger the gravitational pull. So stop whispering your aspirations to the ceiling and start documenting them with the same gravity you'd give a legal contract. Second, ask with conviction. And I know that might sound simplistic, even naive, but stay with me. Epictetus, who began his journey as a captive with nothing, no liberty, no assets, no visible future, constructed a philosophy that outlasted empires. The core of his teaching was this: the only domain truly yours is your perception. Choose to believe your goal is attainable, not because you have a guarantee, not because the odds are favorable, but because you made a decision. Plan with the rigor of a military strategist and hold your belief with the purity of a child. That fusion, mature strategy, innocent faith, is one of the most formidable forces a human can deploy. Give it 90 days. Just 90 days of asking with precision and believing without reservation, and observe how differently your life trajectory shifts. Now, here's the deeper layer, where real wealth resides. If you want lasting prosperity and contentment, there's one practice above all you must cultivate. Work more on your own mind than you do on your job. Your income, your relationships, your vitality, your tranquility, none of them will consistently rise above the level of your own personal development. You might catch a lucky break here or there. Life might toss you a golden ticket. But if you haven't grown into the version of yourself that can hold on to it, it will slip through your fingers. Seneca stated it plainly: luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And the Stoics were fixated on preparation, not of circumstances, but of character. Because success isn't something you hunt down and capture. It's something you become worthy of, and then it finds you naturally. True fulfillment isn't in the pile of things you amass. It's in the person you evolve into along the way. So, how do you become that person? Let me offer 3 immediate actions. The first is to study the mechanisms of life. Almost every struggle you face isn't a shortage of resources. It's a shortage of insight. You don't need more time, more cash, or more chance. You need a superior idea on how to utilize what you already possess. And where do ideas originate? Study. Read daily. Not all night, just 30 minutes. 30 minutes a day of the right material will transform your life more than most imagine. Every successful individual I've encountered shares one habit: they read, not because they were told to, but because they are voracious for knowledge. Study the blueprint of what you want to become. If you desire financial freedom, study how wealth is constructed. If you desire health, study the body systems. If you desire wisdom, the Stoics have already provided the definitive guide. It's been waiting for you. Beyond reading, listen. Surround yourself with people who are already living the reality you want, and absorb how they think, how they converse, how they decide. The conversations occurring in the rooms you haven't yet entered are the ones that could change everything. And third, observe. Watch how those who succeed navigate the world. Success always leaves a trail. The way they handle pressure, the way they treat others, the routines they maintain when no one is watching, all of it is data. Be present. See not just with your eyes, but with your awareness. Because when your eyes are open, you see what exists. But when your mind is open, you see what's possible. The second action is to put the work in, not just at your occupation, but on yourself. Start with the small disciplines. The morning structure you've been delaying, the book sitting on the shelf untouched, the goal written down but never executed. Small disciplines are not trivial. They are the proving ground for everything greater that is coming. The Stoics train themselves daily in voluntary hardship, in self-reflection, in deferring gratification, not because life was simple, but because they understood the muscle forged in quiet moments is what sustains you through the difficult ones. Self-motivation isn't a birthright. It's a habit. You choose it at dawn. You ignite your own flame and you protect it. And the third thing, don't try to circumvent the system. Learn to work within it. Once you start understanding how life operates, there's always a temptation to hunt for the loophole, the shortcut, the clever hack. Resist it. The Stoics were adamant: integrity is the only true currency. Honor is the bedrock upon which everything lasting is built. Cut corners, and you construct a life on shifting sand. Do it right, even when it takes longer, even when no one is watching, and you build something that endures. Here's what I want you to carry forward. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, and 5 years from now, you will not be the same person you are today. The only question is whether that evolution happens by chance or by choice. Marcus Aurelius asked himself each morning, "What will I do today that is worthy of the life I've received?" I'm asking you the same thing. What are you going to demand out loud on paper with clarity and belief that you've been holding back until now? Because here is the truth the Stoics live by, a truth most never fully realize. On any given day, you possess the power to reroute the entire direction of your existence. Not someday, not when the stars align, today. The reservoir is right there, deep and full and waiting. The only question left is, what are you bringing to it? If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more of this ancient wisdom applied to modern life, make sure to hit that subscribe button for Winds of Thought. We're just beginning. Stay focused, stay grounded. We'll see you in the next one.